This is Mrs. Miller, your teacher at ELA Academy. Today, we're going to talk about sentence fragments in a good way. Your teacher might not like me too much after this because fragments break the rules. But when you start paying closer attention to published writing, you'll find rules smashed to smithereens all over the place. Let's take a closer look. Technically, a fragment is an error because it isn't a complete sentence. It's missing a subject or a main verb, or it's a dependent or relative clause sitting there by itself without an independent clause to hold its hand. We usually want you to avoid doing that. But even though your teacher might be throwing me a dirty look right now, I'll tell you, fragments can be and are used artistically. Yes, even by the great writers. Let's look first at a few examples so that you can see what kinds of things might be missing from a fragment. Santa, a man with a generous heart. What's missing there? There's no verb, so that's technically a sentence error. But could we use it artistically? Santa, a man with a generous heart. A man who brings joy to millions. A man who embodies the spirit of Christmas. Sure, all three of those sentences are fragments, but doesn't it create a great effect? We're rhapsodizing about Santa, praising him with extravagant enthusiasm. What about this one? Has a generous heart. What's missing here? There's no subject. If you use a lot of sentences like this, it's a particular style called the clipped sentence. Here's an example. Santa, great guy, has a generous heart, gives toys to kids, provides jobs for disadvantaged elves. Clipped sentences sound businesslike, brisk, military. Grammatically incorrect? Yes, but still used out in the real world. Another. After the elves make millions of toys. What's wrong with this one? It's a dependent clause by itself. But again, we see it all the time, especially in dialogue. Here's an example. Cindy Lou asked, "When will Santa start loading his sleigh?" "After the elves make millions of toys," her father replied, patting her head affectionately. We do this all the time in conversation, don't we? If you're writing a narrative, this kind of fragment can help you write more natural-sounding dialogue. Let's look at one more. Elves making millions of toys. What's wrong with this one? Well, we have a subject, but that's no main verb. To make it grammatically correct, we would need to say, elves make millions of toys, or elves are making millions of toys. So surely I couldn't make this work as an artistic fragment, right? Well, yeah, I could. Santa's workshop was a wondrous place. Elves making millions of toys, Santa checking his list, Mrs. Claus teaching young elves Christmas carols, everywhere the spirit of Christmas. Again, grammatically incorrect, yes, but doesn't it create a sense of someone walking around Santa's workshop, staring at everything in wonder? Yep. Okay, so you've seen me breaking the grammar rules all over the place and making your teacher cringe, but I swear it really does happen in published literature. Let's check out that grammar rule breaker, Elie Wiesel. So much violence, so much indifference. Take a moment and identify any nouns, verbs, and conjunctions. We have a couple of nouns, but no verbs. So if Mr. Wiesel's 10th grade English teacher were nearby, she might pull out her red pen and write frag in the margin of his speech notes with a sour, disapproving look on her face. Or maybe she understands artistic fragments and just nods her head. Who knows? One more. A fearful man, all in coarse gray, with a great iron on his leg. A man with no hat, and with broken shoes, and with an old rag tied round his head. A man who had been soaked in water and smothered in mud, and lamed by stones and cut by flints, and stung by nettles and torn by briars, who limped and shivered and glared and growled, and whose teeth chattered in his head as he seized me by the chin. Find all the nouns, verbs, and conjunctions you can. Okay, We have 3 sentences here. I didn't mark every noun because it would have made this look even more cluttered than it already is. The first sentence is missing a verb, so fragment. The second, same thing, no verb. What about that long third sentence? We have a bunch of verbs, so it's okay, right? Well, take a closer look. What's the subject of all those verbs? Who, another who, and whose teeth. Look at it in context. A man who had been soaked in water. Who and whose are relative pronouns. Remember those introduced relative clauses, which are dependent? Since all the verbs are inside relative clauses, there is no independent clause in this sentence. So it's another big fat fragment. But isn't it also delightfully artistic at the same time? Dickens just piles all of these details on, and we can't help but feel sorry for this poor man who suffers so many discomforts. I hope this video has helped you to appreciate the artistic fragment. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. And if you like what I'm doing, please consider supporting ELA Academy on Patreon. This is ELA Academy.